Right, but I do want to kind of get back to, you know, the digital invasion. Virginia, what's your take? Like, because you don't have to kind of sit in a room with traditional agencies as the expert in the digital space, and do they get it? And even though you're feel free to say they don't.
On the grounds that it may incriminate me. Wow, that's a loaded question, and there's no real need for me to play the answer safely. It's one of those conversations, I think, that gets messy when you ask the question, do they get it? Because there's a lot of things that it's really not about getting digital. It's about accepting the fact that there is now one message that needs to be communicated, and digital is air, so to speak.
Right.
So there is no more real television, and there is no put your TV ad online and expect that that's going to make a difference for anyone. All that does is just give you another way to look at the TV ad. But people are way more interested in playing an active role with whatever it is that they're looking at. So I think what it really is about understanding that how people look at things has changed. So it's not about digital versus television and who gets it. It's just accepting that it's all different now. And the best thing to do is just go with it.
Israel talked a little bit about being in the position of creative director, and people expecting you to have the answers, which is certainly the case. I think the flip side to digital is, for those of us at the table who are doing freelance work, digital opens up an incredible universe because you don't actually have to go to a bricks and mortar building. There's a lot of work that you can do online. There's a lot of online resources, whether you want to call them crowdsourcing or otherwise, where you can be involved in creative endeavors with other like-minded people. And it's as creative as anything else that you will do. So digital has allowed that to happen, and there's a lot of opportunities in that direction.
Yeah, but it's for kind of big clients and big agencies. Has it created I always feel there's a weird dynamic in the room knowing that there's someone across the table who is simultaneously trying to grow their business and protect their business, and you're trying to do the same. And
it's crazy.
John, you and I have worked together, and I always say I will work with John because I know John, and we've worked together in the past, and so we get along very well and can engage in that relationship. If I don't know the other creative director, isn't it a weird relationship to have with another agency at the table? Is it more challenging as a creative director to see your ideas through when there are other people at the table who are justified in being there, but the client is looking to 4 different people to bring this idea to life?
It's one of those things that digital is still something that everyone's still trying to figure out, but from an agency standpoint. There's certainly a certain amount of faking going on, for sure. I think it's just the people who are the most, a lot of it is actually just doing it and just getting in there and practicing it and getting right in there instead of talking about it and preaching it and just regurgitating it out there. You actually really need to just show by example, and that's when you can start to build some trust with your clients. And once you get a couple of those cases kind of under your belt, then you're actually figuring it out yourself. You're learning with everyone, but at the same time, you're working with other brands to actually build it at the same time. And when that happens, then
I think it also depends on the attitudes of people around the table. Are they collaborative or are they protective? Because that is going to define whether it goes well or whether it's just a hellacious thing to get through.
Yeah, I was flying down to New York, Chicago with a mutual client of ours, dealing with the New York process versus the Toronto process, and there was 80 grand at the table. Like there was 50 people from 5 agencies, and the lead agency, the brand agency, was trying to, pick their way through the sea just to keep their, the old man in the sea. Like, just everything's eating at the fish. And it's tough because there's a certain amount of decorum and respect you have to give everybody. And at the end, it just kills the idea. I mean, it blunts it, I should say. It just blunts it like crazy. So I think it's extremely frustrating.
Right.
And you're right. If we could get people around the table that are super collaborative, then it's awesome because everyone's just pitching in ideas. And when you realize that everyone's going to get credit for it, then it's a whole different thing. But I guess the profit and the building your business gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
And even within agencies, if there's an interactive department and a so-called offline department, they're each looking out for their own financial interests. So they can pit themselves against one another. So there's a lot of situations where you find yourself in a real bind.
Yeah. And I'll just, one last question on this and then we'll move on. Glenn, do you think that, you kind of touched on it, do you think that agencies are looking to their creative directors to solve those problems? So either you've got to go in and retain some of the budget, or you've got to go in and grow some of the budget, or you've got to figure it out. Is there too much being placed on creative directors?
Not where I've been, because I've felt it's pretty much a team that has to do it. But certainly, other people's livelihoods are dependent upon you doing your job well. And you're at the helm, and you have to give people direction. And you carry that responsibility, and you believe in what you're attempting to do. And it means trying to ensure that when something's available, that you really go after and spend a lot of energy making that happen, and ensuring that people are covered. Especially now when, jobs went away. I'll tell you one of the difficulties is the rumbles in the jungle. Like there's less time and more to do with less resources. We went through the sweep in the economy and we had to let people go because we didn't have the money to kind of hold on to everybody. So they went, everybody was just happy to do a job, so they filled the gaps that were required. And then the economy started to come back, but new people weren't hired to fill those gaps because you just showed me you could work twice as hard for that because you chose to. So keep choosing to. And I think that eventually our machinery, our people, the cogs start to fall apart. It's just way too hard on everybody. And the balance is kind of lost. I think the people who've been in it feel it. And then the people who've been in it longer who have to deal with more of the dissatisfaction feel it even more.
Was another creative director who said to me about this past year and a half, I've never worked so hard for so little. That I think
even appreciation, and not just money, even appreciation, to get the morsel of, wow, that's great, as opposed to the expectation that, yeah, you should just do that for me. Because the appreciation goes a long way. We're willing to work hard for people. I guess it's the artistry part of what we do. I understand we're certainly business and commerce, but the artistry part is you want people to really appreciate what you're putting out there, because you're putting yourself out there. It's a bit of a mind orphan. You really want people to adopt it. And when you do all that you can to throw it out there and you don't feel like somebody's appreciating, respecting, that's a really tough thing to do. But I don't think that the clients are receiving that either. So it's systemic. It's a trickle down. And I think they're doing way more than they've ever had to do. And so it's really not fair on either of the two pieces.
Yeah, it's like, you think it's tough being, at a table with 5 different agencies. Try managing 5 different agencies, when you're a client.